Hey guys, Drata Arcana here, back with another Marvel's Avengers video, and I'm going to be talking about why I love missile spamming, and why I think this is a great meta build. So let's jump into it. First off, talking about missile spam is one of the things we need to understand is how missiles actually work. First off, they are a high damage ability, and that means that they're going to be the most damaging ability that you can use in the game, as far as Iron Man goes. Next up is the knockback. Being able to shoot an enemy and watch them fly across the map is absolutely enjoyable. Plus, this provides a level of CC for your teammates and allows your allies to be able to hit the enemy while they're down and be able to basically support the team in crowd control. Next up, their range allows you to stay at a distance and basically not be in combat. Basically, no melee is needed. And that is a blast to play, to watch enemies just get exploded from a distance. And especially that feeling when you destroy a turret and it's like, yes, goodbye turret. Next up, their ability to break shields definitely makes it an unblockable attack. So that is really enjoyable to watch. When you see an enemy with a shield and you're just like, haha, I have a missile and you can't stop it. And then watching them fly across the map after their shield gets broken is just a delight. I absolutely enjoy that aspect. One of the big things that makes this ability really even more fun is the fact that it's an AoE. You see all those enemies clustered together and you're like, I wish I had an ability that was an AoE. Oh wait, my missile. So then you just watch all the enemies explode and you see all the damage numbers and you're just like, yes, this is a thrill. And it's absolutely enjoyable. One of the challenges I find in this game are definitely sometimes some of the boss fights. And when I start seeing the double damage numbers, I'm just like, oh yeah. So you hit the enemy with one missile and then it's like 2 damage numbers. And these can be either 1 crit and 1 non-crit, or it could be 2 crits, or it could be 2 non-crits, and then you're just like, well, that doesn't seem like it did a lot, and then you're like, oh wait, I add those 2 numbers together and that's the actual damage number. And that is just enjoyable. Just watching enemies just explode and be blown up is absolute a thrill. Now, I'm talking a lot about the thrill of the build, but the reason why it's meta is because it can take out a group of enemies very quickly, or it can take out a single enemy very quickly. And being able to do both while also not being in combat is absolutely what you want out of your meta build. Now, we're going to talk about why this build is better than the other builds out there. One of the things that's been going around for a lot of characters is the heroic spam build, where your heroics come up almost instantly. This is not going to be the case with Tony Stark, and I saw a build by another YouTuber, and basically he said that heroic ability for Tony Stark is really weak. And I agree, it is really weak for Tony Stark. Missile spam is not weak for Tony Stark, and missile spam is going to be the way you're going to want to play in the meta. It does a lot of damage very quickly, and it is very effective. Plus, having infinite attacks is absolutely amazing, and being able to take out any enemy from a distance, as you can see I am doing here in the video. You can see these high health pool enemies just dying instantly to my missiles. Meanwhile, I am way out of combat. I am nowhere near them, and they are just dying to my missiles. That is just awesome to see, and that's what you want out of your meta build. One of the things we definitely want to focus in on is precision. Just to increase your ranged attack, you want as much high precision as possible. The ease of play where you just hit L2 and R2 makes it one of the best farming builds for those casual players and those who just want an easy build to focus on that does a lot of damage and can handle its own. We are going to want to focus in on a lot of defense because we just don't want to die during this high-end content. Especially in hives, as you can see I'm going through a hive right now, and we definitely don't want to die during those hives. And plus, turrets can be really annoying, and you might not be able to get to them right away, but you definitely want to get to them as quick as possible, so we want to survive as long as possible as we can while being able to still deal damage. Next up, I'm going to talk about why this ability is better than everything else that Tony Stark has access to. And I think that that's something that's getting left in the dust. Missiles, basically, on top of everything I've said, the pulsars are kind of on damage. And I know that that's going to be hard for YouTube to translate, but basically pulsars are subpar at best. And they're not going to be your ideal way of dealing damage. They're fast and they're very easy on the energy cost, but fast and easy on the energy cost doesn't necessarily mean higher damage output. Next up is the lasers. Lasers take time to build up and take time to generate, and that's just not fun for me. If my damage ability is going to take time to deal damage, I don't want that in a meta build. Next up, the heroic abilities. So this is why spamming heroics is not ideal for Tony Stark. And that is simply because his Hulk Buster is great for melee and great for basically invulnerability. And while that might sound great to focus in on it, it is not going to deal the most damage the quickest. Simply because you basically get a square button melee attack and then he only can fire pulsars. And the pulsars do a decent damage, but it is not an ideal way of play for this build. Next up, his Unibeam is kind of subpar as well. It's cool when you use it like triple back to back, but it's hard to aim and hard to control, and it just doesn't hit all the time. Next up, Arc Overload is probably one of the strongest abilities and probably the only reason I would ever focus in on it is simply for the fact that it instantly resets your intrinsic energy meter. This is great because it means that you could basically infinitely spam missiles, and that's great, and that's why we want to focus in on it. But once again, having it up, it's up. If it's not up, it's not up. You know, and I think that missiles rarely need the arc overload, so really you just want to use it in chaotic fights or against bosses. So guys, that's why I love this build. That's why I think that it's a meta build, and I think that it's a great way to play. And I think that this needs to be looked at, and more people need to think about it. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to cover it for this video. I'll see you guys in another video. If you like the video, feel free to subscribe and like the video. Anyways, guys, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.